The Fire Emblem! The Fire Emblem is real!
Okay.
Oh, here's the one last announcement. Alright guys,
So
ready?
what
Fire Emblem.
possibly could it be? If it's Fire Emblem, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Fire Emblem? It is Fire Emblem. Oh, dumb.
Fire Emblem!
Oh no, that's Fire Emblem! That's fucking Fire Emblem!
It looks kind
It's Fire Emblem! Oh my god!
Oh, dumb, that's it. That's the Coliseum. That's the arena, chat. It's real! Finally! A new Fire Emblem!
Don't fuck with me right now.
Fire Emblem? Fire Emblem!
Yes! Fire Emblem! A new Fire Emblem! It's a new Fire Emblem! Oh my god!
Whoa, baby! Let's go! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh shit!
The wait is finally over. We have the Crown Maker for too long, and now we finally have some news. And best of all, it looks really good. There is a lot to discuss about this. The new setting, the characters, the gameplay mechanics that may or may not be coming back, and a certain special someone who I have no clue why she's here, but I kinda glad she is, dude. So we are gonna be dividing discussion in multiple topics and analyze what you can glean from this specific announcement.
Upon your strength, hold fast to the devotion in your beating hearts. Hear me now as I declare that the heroic games have begun!
Starting with what appears to be the four main characters, Kai, Theodora, Dietrich, and Leda. And honestly, they all look really good. Some might be better liked than others, but they all look pretty good, and even with the little info we have about them, there is still quite a bit to talk about. First of all, 3 out of 4 of them are POC. 3 amazing character development from FE. Because hey, before, what amount do we have? Like 20 in total, maybe? I know we have 3 main characters. It's pretty good, it's a pretty big improvement. They still have some problems, because this is a Japanese game after all, and the Japanese are not exactly known for their good representation. But it's still a massive step forward. So we are gonna analyze what we can from them.
I only want to fight so I can save my father's life.
Starting with Kai, he's the only one we see in the freedom section and is the one with the more flexible motivations. So he's probably the guy we'll spend the most time with. His narrative purpose is clearly being the entry point to world politics, since he's a rather young boy from the countryside and is probably not super involved in world politics yet. His main motivation for joining the heroic games is to help his father, which is a rather vague statement. Could realistically be anything, but from what we see in the trailer, the timeline of events could be something like this. Kai comes to the city with his dad and his friend Ignatia. They come to settle some deeds, get some supplies, or anything really. They take in the side of the city, and boom, Kai's dad gets detained, or for tax evasion, yeah, and he gets sentenced to death. Really bad. So now Kai has to enter the games to save his father with a wish. Yeah, that's probably what happened. So, what can Kai do to save him? Well, we get to see quite a bit of him in the trailer. I honestly couldn't believe they added the class to Fire Emblem twice. But anyways, he is one of them. It is mainly a lance class, but we do see him having a wooden sword in his inventory. So maybe this is worse too, or maybe, which is a bit unlikely, it uses the same system as 3 houses in which any class can use any weapon. His personal skill is Nightly Senses, which is into broken combat. What does it do? It's kind of a mystery. It does have the cavalry symbol, so maybe it gives him some kind of bonus against cavalry. Maybe that's why his spear has that symbol next to it, because it kinda looks like effective damage, but that is ineffective damage dude, that's like knife damage, come on. The Nintendo Topics article that was released shortly after this trailer says that he's also able to tame animals and use them in combat. Animals, plural. So maybe that is suggesting a mechanic related to taming animals to unlock new mounts, or maybe it's just flavor text, so who knows. Oh, and importantly, he seems to have the crest of Ovin, which is really weird because in Fotland we know of only 2 people that ever had that crest: Yuri and Ovin himself. If you haven't played 3 Hopes, there is this support conversation between Yuri and Sothis in which Yuri says he's looking for clues about how he got his crest in the first place, and at one point it comes up that Yuri was saved by this few old man that he and his mother had taken in because he couldn't take care of himself anymore, and this old man ended up saving Yuri's life with some type of remedy and died shortly after. Sothis speculates this man is Ovin himself. The support conversation ends with a quote from Sothis that is never elaborated upon.
You always cursed the blood that flowed through you. But in the end, it saved that child's life. It brings me great relief to know that you found salvation in your last moments. Oban, my friend. Be at peace.
So, the only person in Fotland who has this crest by the time Ovin dies is Yuri, right? So, Quace Ghost, this is a sequel, right? Well, why did Ovin consider his blood cursed? Because this is not related to being an apostle, dude. Like, Noah is the ancestor of House Nouvelle. Both Chevalier and Timotheus have a whole village with their blood. We know that some crests do have weird effects, like how the crest bearers in general like sweets, how Magan can apparently talk to animals, how the crest of Charon makes you have really bad luck with storms, or how somehow Catherine can be really good at guessing a person's crest. So maybe Ovin tried to help some people with his blood, but it ended up really badly, and maybe one of those people was an ancestor of Kai and it managed to pass down the crest. Maybe.
What I seek is a great strength, an unyielding strength for any foe, sheer strength to uphold the faith I hold dear.
Moving on, we have Theodora, and I'm really excited to learn more about her. Funnily enough, her name has the same elements as Dorothea's, but backwards, and it means God's gift. And I mean, yeah, look at her. She might be extremely grey, but she is gorgeous and cool, and also very reminiscent of Edelgard. We are not escaping the Discord with this one, guys. In my opinion, it will be worse, because she has to fight both sexism and racism. And that's not counting that out of the 4, she looks the most willing to backstab everyone else. I'm just saying that if she's backstab guy, I would not be surprised. Moving on, her armor is just it's so stupid. It's really stupid. I don't think we have gotten anything close to the bikini armor from Chimera in a while, and that wasn't that bad, dude. Like girl, how are you going to battle with a bikini, some thigh highs, and a gauntlet, dude? Oh, look, okay, I respect the vision because it looks badass and it builds character. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it might be that this represents how she puts her people and kingdom before herself, caring more about them than her personal safety with this dogshit armor. Also, I noticed this little circuit she has with a bow on it. Maybe represents she's more of a softie than she looks at first. Maybe. I don't really know what to make out of those dragon horns she has, because they are made from bone, clearly, but are way too small to be from an actual dragon. Like, come on. So maybe it has some kind of narrative importance, maybe just a cultural thing, maybe it's nothing, but the fact is, she looks sick. We don't really know much about her gameplay. We don't see her moving, using the noble cross, and she uses a battalion to attack. But from what we can see, she seems to lack a crest. Her personal skill seems to be one of the boosting ones, probably related to battalion since she's about being a leader and all. And she has a weapon called Mahatu Spear, which might be the name of her kingdom. That's really all I can tell from the fragments we have about her. So we are moving forward with the next one.
It is imperative that I face it again. I must cull it with this blade.
Hey guys, do you remember those pre-rehearsals leaks about a Fire Emblem game centered around vampires? Well, now we have Dietrich, who is Alucard from Castlevania. Is he as bisexual as Alucard? Well, the word is still around, but the streets say he might be more. That's Adrestia for ya. The first thing you might notice about Dietrich is that he's gorgeous, German. He's a very edgy looking guy, and he's clear enough around these parts. He sticks out like a sore thumb with that armor and crest weapon. We even see him on a boat, probably coming from side to where the tournament is taking place. He is also very similar to both Mercedes and Yoritza, and even has the crest of Lamine. He has surprisingly gentle looking eyes, he just looks kinda tired, and I don't think it's far-fetched to assume that he falls into the dark guy with a heart of gold archetype. Also, for some reason, he has a hero's relics with the crest of Lamine, which is weird, but I will talk about it later. Hidden gems seems to be hiding it. The scabbard does nothing for it, since you can clearly see the spikes poking out of it. Maybe relics are not common in this part of the world, and wants to avoid unnecessary attention. But maybe not, because later he gets in a fight in broad daylight. His motivation is to face something again. By the way he says it, it seems that he didn't have to be before, and he has it now. So that's a differentiating factor. So that means he got it recently. And what is he fighting? Well, maybe he's taking down the Navitian that's holding this whole tournament. That would merit having the return for a relic, no? But in reality, we just don't have enough information to really speculate on this. But hey, I'm sure he can take him. I have no doubt about it. I see that my faith in this guy will not falter. What the fuck is this build, dude? Why are you a Myrmidon? That's a starter class, and it's not even mastered. Dude, you're level 37! Bro just got fed 30 red candies. He doesn't even know how he got here, dude. But yeah, this guy has a lot of cool stuff. Other than that, he's got a skill with the same name as Jerisha's personal murderous intent, which I guess it does the same thing. Not really possible to tell with the footage, honestly. He's also the first of all that we see using voice arts. And hey, hold your attention for a second. Do you see how the bar is orange and purple? You know whose primary color are those? And you know, this guy teleports in a very specific way and seems to have dark magic. Also, when the bar is full, it glows orange. Oh yeah, he is 100% related to the gardens in some way. Like, come on. Hero's relic is a very specific terminology, and he uses dark magic. Like, he at least got that sword from them, dude. Also, I've been asking myself, why does he do more damage on the second hit? And I think I found my answer, dude. It's the skill right here. At first, I thought it was crit plus 5, which is not very good. But then, I noticed that the follow-up does exactly 5 more damage. So maybe that is it. Which would be pretty cool, because a lot of units have the problem of doing 0 times, dude. Excellent. Truly excellent.
There's a man I hate so much that simply killing him will not satisfy me. For that reason, I refuse to die.
And Leda, I guess she is cool. Ignore this light. God damn it, she is really cool. And she reminds me a lot of Primrose from Octopath Traveler. So maybe the reason she's a dancer is similar to hers, to try to get more information about the person they're looking for. All we know from her is that she's looking for someone and wants to give them a worse fate than death. Maybe that's why she uses what seems like black magic in the first place. And what can she do with this? Well, she summons demonic beasts. Specifically, one that looks oddly similar to the experimental demonic beast from Three Houses, just without a crescent. And, just a reminder, those ones are just people that can transform by those who slither in the dark with the power of a crescent. So maybe that's what she's looking for did. Maybe. Maybe they turned one of her loved ones into a demonic beast and she wants revenge. Also, the game UI is kind of a mess, so we can really see if she has the grace of Timotheus or not at a glance. See, none of the menus she went through shows the grace at all, but Timotheus has the power to summon beasts and talk to animals according to legend. Then we also have Happy, who after being experimented upon by the Slytherins ended up with the issue that she summons monsters whenever she sided. And in some of the ending, it's implied she learned how to use her to the benefit. Happy has the crest of Timotheus, obviously. I'm pretty sure that's why they kidnapped her in the first place. Could it be that some crests have this sort of secret power that can be locked in some way, like how Marianne is able to talk to animals? Because when we see Leda use her guitar, That looks an awful lot like dark magic. And in three houses, all the users of dark magic were linked to the snaky guys in some way. Maybe it's not herself she was experimenting upon. Maybe it's the guitar that holds the power. We can only guess now. So, other than that, what else she can do? Honestly, don't know. They legit didn't even give her a weapon because it wasn't necessary to showcase her. Her song has a variety of effects, and the only one we see is the Song of Beast, with so much on demonic beast, and the custom song, Gotch. The other ones can mean literally anything, from what the rings in F7 did to something completely unique. Song of Madness sounds like it inflicts the Berserk status effect. Song of Passion could be an ally buff or a refresh like a normal dancer. It could even be a brainwash statue like in SMT, in which the enemy fights for you. I really hope Song of Water or Ice is like to stroke stuff in some way. Maybe can also create water platforms. And Abjuring could legit be any type of enemy debuff. But there is more characters that the main fort we get a really good look at. Like this fraud. Who is this guy? Why are you blonde? That's completely different from the fetus we thought were intrinsically related to Navitians. All of the other ones we have seen have green eyes and green hair. But what about the flashbacks? Well, here's the thing. They dyed their hair there to avoid being recognized as Navitians, because that would make them stand out. All of them but Sothis have a hairstyle that covers their ears even. So why is this guys like this out in the open like brown and shit? Hell, he even calls himself the Divine Sovereign, clearly portraying himself as one of the Navitians. Can he do that? But hey, maybe he is half Navitian. He knows the legend and wants to be worshipped at a faraway place for some reason. It's not like we know how their genetics work, like anyways. Moving on. Next is Kai's friend. She's a cutie and has questionable taste in shoes. She looks completely out of place. Teresa was saying she looks like she was isekai'd here, and honestly I low-key agree with that. In reality, she could be a merchant's daughter. They could easily use that to justify her harem in way fancier clothes than everyone else. What a nerd. These guys are also here. We see them for a second at the start. They seem to be in one of the special stands in the Coliseum that scenes for important people. The red guy looks like he's prepared to jump to action in the need of it, so maybe he's guarding the other woman. The blue-haired woman is rather unremarkable at first. She's pretty, elegant, typical noble woman. But then I zoom in and I'm feeling like that ancient Alice guy right now. That does look like an ancient circuit, right? That's a circuit, is it not? It's such a weird pattern. Like, this P by itself looks like an eye, which is pretty cool already. So why add this pattern? I didn't see anyone else wearing something similar in the trailer, so why her? I'm telling you guys, they are gonna be so important in this game too. Next, we have these two gladiators fighting. This one has a gas mask and this flower symbol without airing a soldier. And the other one is a very cool guy who has the symbols which is similar to another gladiator we will see later on. not really much here to see. There's also this guy, Dietrich threatens. At first I thought he was a guard or something going like, "Hey, nice work you have there, partner. Mind if I take a look?" And then Dietrich let him have a close and personal look at it. But there is a random thief behind him, so maybe he's the leader of some gang and just wanted to mock him and ended up being mocked himself. Next we have this cat woman with a mask, who is totally not important. She has the crest of Noah in her necklace, which could mean anything. We don't really much about Noah after founding House Novel. Fortune's Wave asked the bold question: what if Fire Emblem had guns? Again! Relics really got hands here, truly following some Zera's footsteps. And there's Trap 2. And you know who we look at whenever we see anything technological in this setting? But this time, there might be another one to blame. In Three Hopes, Sylvain says something about creating some type of fire orb that's small enough to carry around and could be used by anyone even if they didn't have any magical ability or training. At that 100% sounds like a gun. There is also another cleric in the trailer and she also has a gun. So it's probably not a unique feature of her. And it's clearly not something that's supposed to be hidden from the public. This guy is pretty cool. He has a symbol on his chest that's similar to the crest of Gatia. And we see him fighting Leda. He himself doesn't look too much into it, which is kinda weird for a gladiator. But Leda really wants to cut this guy down. Personally, I don't think this is the guy she's looking for because he would be kinda anticlimactic at this point if he was just some gladiator. But he could be involved in many ways. He could have been a hired hand for that, or have a direct connection to the person who did it. And at last, we see this throne that's pierced by multiple weapons, and a guy sitting that's leaning forward a bit. And well, you know it, I am a licensed physician, so yeah, these guys look pretty fucking dead. It would be $10,000, thank you very much. But in all seriousness, that guy does look really dead. Some weapons seems to have pierced him directly on the back. The person on front does look a lot like Theodora, and this could serve as her backstory and call to action. Such a sudden passing of a ruler would leave a lot of cracks in a kingdom, even if they were succeeded right away. Theodora needs the strength to both not end up like her father and to solve the reason why he got assassinated in the first place. Also, I was gonna mention this in the Theodora section, but her design really bugged me because I couldn't really figure out was she was based on, but I think I figured it out, kinda. Her kingdom might be based on Egypt. The Roman Empire and Egypt had pretty good trade relationships for centuries, and when I noticed I wasn't considering the artist's inherent bias, I realized that she could perfectly be how a Japanese man designs an Egyptian ruler. And not only that, her gameplay section seems to be in the desert, and this place looks very made out of sandstone and it really resembles some other desertic buildings in other Fire Emblem games. This might also be directly connected to what her wish is, and she might want to establish a trade relationship with other places to better her own kingdom. There is also some small flashes we see of other playable characters. First we have some mages. The one on the left looks a lot like Hubert. Kai's friend seems to be playable too. There is this Constance looking woman very briefly done during Leda section, and there is this kid that looks vaguely like Flash. Next we have the relics. As you can see, we have both the woman from before and this other woman, which is also wielding a gun. They might just be common equipment from clerics they got hands in this game. We'll see a lot of other folks with varying ages, which is really cool. But this guy right here appears in all of the 4 main characters' armies. So I'm not really sure what his deal is. Maybe he's a neutral character, who knows. We also have this guy that kinda looks like a pirate. Maybe that's what he has in his head. It's a pirate hat. I really hope so. Headgear is really cool in Fire Emblem. Another important guy to note is the guy riding an ostrich, which is presumably the same class as Guy, so we know it's not unique to him. There is a lot of very interesting stuff in this trailer. It could mean a lot, but there is one problem. It's a mess. First of all, where are we? The Greco-Roman influence is very clear to see to everyone, and in Three Houses Fosbrand, there is nearly not a lot of places that share this aesthetic. The closest one we have is the Empire, and even then this looks kinda like a fortune, and the Empire would only really have a direct relationship with Bridget at this point in the past. And even then, dude, they sided with Dagda twice to try to conquer some of the Empire territory, so I doubt the political intentions are rather liked. So where is this? Well, the Japanese trailer described this tournament by a very peculiar name, the Dakshan Heroic Games, which honestly does sound a lot like Dagda. And we practically know nothing about Dagda, so this is the perfect place to set a prequel with very vague ties to Three Houses. Like, from Dagda, we know it's a massive continent, and according to Shamir, people in Dagda marry whoever they want, regardless of gender, which would tie back to the Greco-Roman aesthetics. I think it's safe to assume that this is somewhere in Dagda. Okay, this wouldn't be a problem if the explain where Crestons actually are. Like Violet has a physical Creston on their chest, but this is because Rhea implanted it on them by request of Citri when they saw Violet was stillborn. So, does this mean all crest bearers have some sort of physical crest inside them? Is this why Rhea banned autopsies? Well, the snake guys did at least make one artificial relic in Amir, so maybe they learned how to synthesize them by themselves. So, who are these 2 heroes relic? The only ones that would share a crest. Well, except for these weapons that were introduced in Three Hopes, which are obviously canon. And even if they were, the crest of Lamine still will have 3 crest weapons, which is more than the other ones by far. So yeah, it could be an artificial hero's relic and relate Dietrich directly to those who slither in the dark, but there is another solution. They could just remove it and put it in the other one. This is not a joke. You can actually just remove them and put them back. Not instead written records of freaks ceasing to move when you remove the Creston. I mean, you can take it out and put it back in, but also it's just literally what Rhea did, no? Like, that's why she wanted the Sword of Creator. She took the crest out of it and started implanting it in various vessels, hoping that one of them will bring Sothis back until it worked with Violet. So yeah, it is possible that they stole that from the Rafal's gem and put it in Dietrich's braid. Yes, but I don't think it's like someone will notice, right? That was taken and then put back in. I was this to say that they should lead us to believe that this was after the War of Heroes. We started with Sothis dead. Next, we see the Faldarius crest in disgrace of this statue. Not really sure what it means, but it is clearly there. Maybe it's meant to represent the Tenolites, because the statue about it looks an awful lot like Nemesis employed some Navetian heads. Which, I don't know about you, but I sure think it's weird for an arena run by a Navetian. Divine fraud continues. It could also mean that they have this weirdly distorted version of events of the War of Heroes over here, something like Nemesis loot the corrupt ones, so we, the good ones, could escape from this new land, or something along these lines. This is certainly one of the finds that I want to find more information about. Is there more than one Coliseum? Because I assume they will change within matches, but we see a lot of viral terrain within what looks like the Coliseum on the trailer. Could this mean that there is more than one of them, or maybe some type of terrain altering power like dragon veins from Fate?
The years were long, weren't they? Have you forgotten me so soon?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Why are you here? I don't get it. I don't understand. You were supposed to be dead. How? Okay, so there is no way there is a prequel, right? There is just no way. No way there is a prequel. Sothis was the first one to die. They used her body to commit the tragedy of the Red Canyon. Her death is like the whole reason the other relics exist. There is even people with her now. How did they manage to bring her back? Did she take over Violet's body? I am still not sure how Beth's work, but Cedar seems like her own person, so surely representing her consciousness with Sothis would be kind of a moral dilemma, no? But what if she's still inside Violet? There is people in her room now, so she has to be real this time. I know it's supposed to make it obvious to everyone that this game has some sort of ties to three houses, but why are you here, girl? Moving on from that, because it's a bottomless pit, who is she talking to? There is very few characters that we know of that have a direct relationship with Sothis if she's alive, which will include Violet and the rest of the Navitians. Right now, we didn't see any of them in this game, so the only one we got to go off is this guy. Not sure what to make of their connection, so we're just gonna close this chapter. But first, where is the crest of frames? I legit couldn't find it in her outfit. I am pretty sure it's just not there. Pretty weird details that might come into play later. Finally, we're gonna talk about some of the gameplay that were left behind in the other discussions. Gambits are back. Gambits are back. There is some kind of speculation that they are exclusive to Theodora's army because of something said in the Nintendo's topic article. Across the trailer we see that the protagonists have some boosted stats. Could this be battalion bonuses from three houses? Unclear, because we really don't see any type of UI element related to battalions like in three houses. It could also be something like boosts from foods, honestly. Blade shards are really cool. If they change from character to character, this could add another layer of differentiation between units. Especially useful if they decide to keep three houses class change stat. All the ones we've seen so far are utility based, which will help fill the niche that combat hearts just don't have. However, the Dietrich last grey out art sounds like an attack, so I don't really think we can discard. There could be some offensive ones either. There are people speculating that these are actually two different bars, and I honestly don't really buy it. Leda's circle is fully orange when it's full, and it's capable of using her beast art despite the requirement for it being a purple ball. I think this could indicate something different, maybe like a special gauge from a fighting game, that when it fails, it lets you use more broken race arts. And to close out the video, there's a couple of things that couldn't fit anywhere else. There is a dedicated weather icon, so it probably does something this time. Hopefully it's better than episode rain, please God. Also, there is a lot of platform in this map, so maybe ledges are back. I really hope so. Rundown levels feel so empty. The ones are ported to other FE games that don't have that system. And that marks the end of this massive video. And with that, I bid you goodbye, viewer. And in case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.